My name is Courtney. I live in Hayes, YMCA. I'm a student and today I'm going to be talking about mental health. What I want you to get out of this is that a lot of people deal with mental health issues and there are charities around that can help and organisations that can help you deal with what you're going through so you don't have to do it alone. I had to deal with most of it by myself and that led me to a terrible mental state of mind, and I wish there were other people around to help me. So this is my story. Mental health is about your state of mind. A good sense of mental health means a person will be more likely to put their mind towards positivity. A bad sense of mental health can mean people feel stressed, anxious, or depressed with ongoing issues in their life, which may worsen their mental health. This can affect day-to-day tasks and other aspects in life, including education and relationships. If not dealt with, these issues can cause serious problems or worsen mental health later in life. Mental health can be determined by many external things. This includes abuse, relationships, family, and exams. So I'll be talking about abuse to start with. This can be a big factor towards someone's mental health. It could be physical, sexual, verbal, or assault, and the person can experience this and react in different ways. Bad experiences can cause PTSD, depression, anxiety, flashbacks, or bad future experiences. For someone that's been a victim of abuse, I know that this affects a person's mental health very badly. When I was younger, I was sexually assaulted, and I know that it affected my mental health in various different ways. I had to deal with it alone, I had to deal with it by myself, and it affected me in a lot of different ways. I remember when I was with my mum and I spoke to her about it, but I didn't really have anyone to talk to, and I didn't really know what counselling was, and I didn't really have a professional opinion or professional help or anyone that could actually help me. This impacted me a lot to do with my relationships because it meant that I couldn't trust people. It meant that I would push people away. It meant that I would feel very anxious around people, and it would make me very nervous and self-conscious, and it was very hard to deal with. Also, to do with my relationships with people meant that I couldn't get close to people, and when people are around me, I don't like them being anywhere near me, and if I tell them to leave me alone or even for a joke or something like that, I take things very close to the heart, and it's very hard for me to open up to people. There are different coping mechanisms that I used. So I had a journal and I used to write in it about all the things that were happening in my day. So because I didn't really have many friends and I didn't really have anyone to talk to, I used to write down everything that was good, everything that was bad, and this helped my mental health. But there are different other coping mechanisms that people use. These include socializing, they include counselling, they include talking to other people and just making sure that you know other people are there for you. I wish that I had people around me to try and make me feel better about myself, and I wasn't in such a bad state that I was in, because it really affected me and it still affects me to this day, because I don't think I ever really got over it. Also, to do with family can really affect a person's mental health. So I know when I was living with my mum, we had a lot of arguments, and this caused a lot of stress in the house. It caused a lot of stress on me, and it caused a lot of stress with my exams and everything. To do with this, it was very hard for me, because when I had my exams, I was moving around. I wasn't sure where I would be staying, what I'd be eating, where I'd be going, and obviously this made me go mad. Like literally, I couldn't cope. I probably could have done better in my exams if I had like a better coping mechanism where I had people around to help me, because I was in such a situation where I didn't know what to do. When I was in that kind of environment, I was angry, I was stressed, I was anxious, I was everything. I used to punch the walls, I used to hit whatever I could find, and obviously this didn't help my physical state or my mental state. I used to not eat food because I didn't want to. I didn't want to eat anything because of the environment I was in. I used to cry myself to sleep some nights, which obviously didn't help the fact that I had exams the next morning, or the fact that I had a lot of other things to do with my day, and it made me feel really bad about myself. I think having other people to talk to would have helped, because even now when I'm in one of those situations, if I know I have someone to talk to, if I know I have someone on the other end of the phone, then it makes me feel a lot better knowing that I can just verbally communicate with someone, or have a shoulder to cry on, or have a hug from someone, knowing that there's someone there, like my friends or my family. Then it makes me feel a lot better about myself, that I don't have to deal with it alone. Also to do with family, about some people can be stressed due to exams. So I know some of my friends have gone through stress and performance because they are worried that their parents will judge them and how well they do. So they get over stressed before an exam, they get over emotional, they get anxiety, and this affects their performance when they could have done better if they just cooled down a bit. This environment is no good for anyone, and obviously I moved out of my house into the YMCA after my GCSEs, and then I was doing my A-levels. I found it a lot easier to just have my own space, to just have a peaceful environment where there wasn't always screaming and there wasn't always shouting and everything like that. People in their own environment that are dealing with this can obviously go to the library for a sense of space, or revise with their friends or something like that as a coping mechanism to get out of the environment that they're in, because stress and anxiety and that kind of environment is not good for a person coping with exams, and it doesn't help anyone. When I was younger, I was bullied quite a lot, so this really affected my mental health, because it meant that I felt so crap about myself, because people would punch me, they'd pick on me, they'd hit me, or they'd emotionally scar me, and I take things very sensitively. So I'm a very to heart kind of person, so things people say do really get to me. I remember there was this one girl, and she used to, every time she saw me, she just used to hit me or smack me or slap me, and to this day I don't know what I ever did to her, why she was so horrible to me, I just wanted to fit in, and I felt like I was so isolated and I had no one to turn to. So what I used to do is I just used to try and find comfort in myself. I used to go for a lot of walks in the park just to get the fresh air and quietness and comfort of no one around me, because I felt so isolated. I think that if I had friends around me to stick up for me, or someone around me to actually fix the situation, then I wouldn't have such a bad mental state of health that I was in. I would recommend speaking to your teacher, or speaking to a family member, or having friends around you, people that care, because it really makes a difference having people that care, because you know you're not isolated and that you have someone to talk to. Also there is a suicide line for people that feel like they can't cope anymore. So just having someone at the end of the phone when they think everything's going to end is a big deal for someone on the other end on the suicide hotline, because they could save that person's life. To do with counselling, it's a good coping mechanism, because It means that you can talk to a professional and they're not going to judge you, and they can actually understand how you're feeling. And just knowing that you have someone to talk to means that you feel better. Well, I felt better about myself having other people to talk to, even though I didn't have counselling. Also, coping mechanism you could use is the gym. So obviously physical health is just as good as mental health. So going to the gym, you could vent out your anger, obviously, on something productive. So you're not hitting things or starving yourself or overeating, because the good coping mechanisms help you, and obviously having bad coping mechanisms like not eating doesn't do you any good. I didn't know that there were counselling services out there. I think it would have helped with my feelings and everything instead of bottling it all up, because I've had plenty of mental breakdowns and times where I couldn't cope and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I'd stay out late and cry and just get angry because I didn't have anyone around me. So I just wanted to let you know that there are people out there that can help you if you're dealing with bad things and it's affecting your mental health or your physical health, because people around you do care, and it's important knowing that you have people around you that care, because that could be the difference between you taking your life and you actually doing something productive and calming down when you're in a bad state. In conclusion, I just wanted people to know that there are support services around to help people. What I was going through when I was dealing with it, there was a lack of the support services, so I didn't know what was actually around and who could help me. I think if I knew what else was around, I probably wouldn't have to deal with it by myself, and I would be in a better state that I am in now, because some of the things that I had to deal with still affect me to this day, like my relationships and things like that. I just want you to know that there are people around that care. And so, example, the YMCA helped me when I had nowhere to stay. Counselling places like Link can help you if you want to talk to someone. Socialising with different people and having friends and family around that care mean you could talk to people and they can understand what you're going through, so you can just have someone to talk to. I just wanted to say thanks for listening, and I hope you could take something real out of today.